Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
This is Jim from Rochester. I happen to be listening to the comments about the trade of Cooper for Aiyuk. Why do we waste time with that? Just move on. Cooper's more fit for the offense that Mr. Stefanski runs within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. And I know what your answer is going to be. He's coming up with a new offense. But Mr. Aiyuk stretches the field. A gentleman called yesterday and said every time we trade for another wide receiver, it doesn't pan out. And if they're looking for a second-round pick, it for really ain't going to pan out. This guy claims he's going to have a new offense, yet to be seen. I guess maybe I'll get a little bit of a look at it when they play their preseason game. But you guys stay safe and go Browns, I guess.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. G. Bush, Aiyuk isn't really a deep guy. He's a guy that he's a lot like Amari Cooper, and they did trade for Amari Cooper, I want to point out. Relative to the Browns offense, we can only go by the fact that they completely rehauled the offensive staff. That's why I think it's going to look different. I think there's going to be more shotgun. Is it going to be throw the ball deep? No, nobody does that.
Yeah, that's it. Most of it is you got to think about it like in terms of this. Sometimes we boil it down and we oversimplify things a lot, and it makes it seem like everything is either black or white, or it's just left or right. But when you say overhaul the offense, there's an offensive haul in terms of philosophy. Generally speaking, just to open it, when you watch film and you watch the Cleveland Browns and their offensive philosophy of what they do, they may have a receiver run a post route. And in the old offense, you run that post route 99 out of 100 or 100 out of 100 times. It doesn't matter what the defense is doing. It's up for the quarterback to diagnose that and either look you off or go somewhere else. But you're going to run that post. In this new offense, and this isn't something new. Other teams have been running option routes for, God knows how long. And it involves, now the receiver, based on the coverage he gets, he can not only run a post, he can run a corner, he can run a stop route, he can run a dig, he can run a slant, he can run a lot of different things based on what coverage he's getting. So what you're doing is you're putting in an offense where you can call one play and your receivers can run hundreds of different route combinations based on what coverage they get. And it all depends on what you see as a receiver and what your quarterback sees. And you're hoping to have that timing so that now if it's a whole different world. Now, if I got a certain coverage, I could throw this route or this route or this route or a lot of different other options that's available to me, which gives your offense more, it's more dynamic. It's more, it gives you another opportunity to not just have plays where you see often where you got to throw the ball away, nobody's open, or you just got to take a sack, or you go to the check down out of the backfield. So that's what the new offense is. In terms of Brandon Aiyuk, he's not really a deep threat. He's a smaller. See, receivers can be smaller, but it doesn't mean that they're vertical. Like you could be a smaller receiver. Calvin Ridley's not a vertical threat. I wouldn't say Brandon Aiyuk is not a vertical threat. They're of the same stature as a Tyreek Hill or Jaden Waddle, but those two guys are much faster and they are deep threats. So all quarterbacks or all receivers, just because they have the same archetype does not mean they have the same skill set. So I think sometimes people get that confused. Basically, he's a guy that can run all the routes on the route tree. He's going to run underneath routes. He's not slow. He's not, he's not a guy that's limited to underneath routes. He's just not known as a blazing 4-2 guy that's going to get behind defenses. He's a good route runner, able to high point the football. He's just a really good receiver. Like, he's not a Justin Jefferson. He's not a Jamar Chase. He's not Tyreek Hill, but he's a very, very, very good receiver.